All right, good morning team, hanging out here. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on my running shoe selection and just walk you through what I've experienced getting different models of shoes, and hopefully this can help you find a pair of shoes that you like and at least guide you in the right direction of what to look for when picking out new running shoes. So these are the last three running shoes that I've had. These are all Ultras. I've got the Altra Torin 4.5s that I got back in July, and I used these for all of my Ironman races this year. These are the Torin 5s, which I got over the winter, and I ran in these for about the past 4 months or so. And then I just got these. These are the Altra Paradigm 6s. So I just wanted to give a little breakdown of kind of how I've evolved through these models and what I'm looking for and what I've liked and disliked about them. So I guess to start, the first pair of Ultras that I got were the Ultra Escalanes, and I really liked the feel of those, but the top of the shoe, these are not them, the top of the shoe was really meshy, and I did not feel like I really had any lateral support. So once I kind of ran in those for a little while and figured that out, I opted for this Torin 4.5 model that is pretty standard in the fact that it's got a pretty durable and supportive top. Nothing crazy here in terms of the support, but overall it's got good cushion, good feel, good support, and certainly solved that mesh issue that I had. I ran in these for the Boulder 70.3, 70.3 Worlds, and Ironman Indiana, and really loved them. After Ironman Indiana, I had realized that I busted through the side of these, so it was time for an upgrade. So I stuck with the Torin model and I went with the Torin 5s. Now, what I've kind of realized is that these running companies will just continually evolve the shoe model, and they'll make minor tweaks and adjustments every time, kind of just to keep something new coming. And it's not always an improvement, of course, I guess based on your preference. And I had read that online a lot about the Escalanes actually, and I didn't quite understand what they had meant. But I experienced that a bit with these Torin models. So this Torin 5 I liked, but I thought that it was a little bit too technical. And I think that the easiest way to explain that or show that is in the tongue here. So this tongue almost doesn't have any cushioning at all. And for me, doing long distance, cushion and comfort are really the most important parts of the shoe's feel. And when I look back at this Torin 4.5 model, it's probably a little bit hard for you to see here, but there is a lot more cushion on this tongue. So when I strapped my foot in here, I felt like I had a good bit of comfort really surrounding my entire foot. And when I had moved over to this Torin 5 model, without really any cushion here, there are a few pads that they added, but very different from this entire thing being a pad. Over time, I just ultimately felt like I didn't have enough cushioning here, and so I wanted to switch it up. So just last week, I picked up a new pair of running shoes, and I went with the Paradigm 6 model. Now I guess to give an overview of all of these Ultra shoes, all Ultras have what's called this drop sole. So the sole of the foot, or the heel of the foot, is on the same plane as the toe and really the rest of the foot. So I'm super into the barefoot type stuff, and these shoes really fit the mold here. So all of these have that same drop sole technology, and the difference on them is really in overall foot cushioning, shape of the shoe a little bit, and just other support details. So these two Torins are really what's described as their high level of cushion. So that basically just means that whatever you see here, this level is considered high, and this guy, even bigger, is max. So big difference is just that there is a lot more cushion on this shoe. And it's also got this thing called a guardrail. So it got heel support to keep your foot a little bit more, I guess, upright and prevent it from potentially sagging off the edge of the shoe. Which for me was important because I have seen a theme of me breaking through the sides of these shoes. These Torin 5s actually probably could have lasted a little bit longer, but I've got some rip here. And I also noticed some rip on the inside here. So little details like that of where I'm breaking through is very important for me to recognize, like either foot striking patterns, running gait patterns, or just things to consider when I'm getting new shoes. Another thing that I like about these Altras is that all of these have this wide toe box. So there's a lot of room down here for my toes to splay, my toes to grip, not narrow like some running shoes. Circling back here on just what I liked about these Paradigms is that this has got like a really, in my opinion, traditional running shoe tongue. Like there is a lot of cushion here, there's a lot of comfort. So when I put my foot in here, I've got the cushion, the max cushioning coming from the bottom, and overall the tongue and the way that it feels on the top of my foot is quite cushioned and comfortable as well. I'm optimistic that this guardrail situation is going to help a little bit with my foot maybe pronating out or rolling outwards and creating the rips that I've seen in a couple different shoes. But overall, that's kind of what I'm working with. I think it is super important to keep playing with what running shoes you like. If you're looking for shoes, like you absolutely have to go to a running store and try out a couple different pairs. I tried out like 3 different pairs before I pulled the trigger on this, just like in the store, playing around with what I wanted. If you pick out a pair, you can just go ahead and like grab them online if you can find like a good deal, but like it is super important to go into a store. A lot of times running stores will even have like a treadmill where they can take a video of your gait and give you an idea of maybe some foot positioning or some movement patterns that might guide you to one shoe or the other. I will say that I'm a little bit hesitant of that because a lot of times that will guide you towards a shoe that corrects an imbalance in your form that should just be corrected from your form originally and not just fixed by the shoe. That issue or that situation is really, really common for people who like experience some foot pain and then they get a shoe that kind of guides them in a different direction, and then all of a sudden that comes up through the kinetic chain into the ankle, the knee, the hip, even the low back, and just causes further imbalances. So I'm a little bit like contradicting myself because I did get the guide rail situation here, but I ultimately don't think that that is a huge deal. There are some shoes that have like elevated padding down at the bottom here to prevent the foot from pronating, and so I think that that would be an example of getting a shoe that will correct a form imbalance, whereas the form itself should just be corrected. So quick rundown here on how I look at this stuff. If you have any questions, please come hit me up, but otherwise I think this is a good rundown of kind of what I'm looking at and maybe what you guys can use to get some new shoes. Questions, come find me. I appreciate you guys.